Hi, this is Grant Pierce. I'm here to give you a quick demo of the Live Tap List menu platform. This is the website for Live Tap List, and this just kind of shows some of the main features. So as you can see here, we do beer menus. We also do menus for food, non-alcoholic beverages, anything that you need to display on a menu, we can do. So we've got people using it for all sorts of products. But in general, we do digital menus, which are displayed on TV screens. You can display them vertically like this image is showing, or horizontally like a traditional TV. We also do print menus, so I'll print it out on an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and web menus, which look really good on the phone or laptop, wherever your customers are looking for menus. We also integrate with GoTab, Clover, Square, and Heartland to get your menu data from your POS system into our menu design system. We're trusted by breweries all over the country and a few outside of the US as well. Also bars, restaurants, coffee shops, ice cream shops, and anywhere else where menus are needed. So this is the website. Once you have an account at Live Tap List, you would click login, and that would take you to the menu platform itself. I'm using a sample subscription here that I use at trade shows just to show some of the functionality. You will get dropped in to the menu items page, and this is essentially the database of all the menu items. You can see that you have a row for every single menu item here with the title of that item in this column. So as you scroll down, you can see these are all the menu items I've got in the system. And as I scroll to the right, I see the types of data that I have associated with those menu items. So this is a quick toggle switch on whether the menu item is active. So if it's not active, it no longer shows on any menus. And other data that we have is which categories that menu item belongs to. So this one specifically is in the all category, and then the grants category. This is in the beer. This is in the Brewfest category. You can add any category you want, and this is a free type field. So you can call this one sours and add that category. Once you've added a category, it's then selectable from this drop-down list, just so the next time you add it, it's ready to go. Saves a little time that way. You can also add a tap handle number to make it easier to order. You can add an image. You can choose from a preloaded image like this one, or you can upload your own image using a file from your computer or camera. You can add a quick short description to say what kind of beer that is, ABV, IBU, brewery, a longer description, which is great for print or web. You can add some more details, such as this item is gluten-free, and then you have sizes and prices. So different sizes of pours and how much they cost. And that is a lot of the data that we have in the system. Once you have all your data filled out, then you can start building your menus. You have multiple options for which menus to build. So the boards are your TV digital menus. The print is that 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper, and the web is your website. And then you can generate a QR code to either go to the print or the web version. Let's go to boards real quick and talk about how to configure this menu. So right away I can see I'm looking at a board called the Vertical Trade Show Demo Board. And so this is oriented in a vertical manner. And I am choosing I'm showing the menu, and then I'm also showing every once in a while a full screen promo image that shows, right now this is advertising different layouts that I use at trade shows, but you could advertise upcoming music events, drink specials, food specials, anything you want to advertise with that space. When you're building the menu, it all starts with what you're showing. This is where I mentioned the categories on that menu items page. So you can select which categories. Right now, this is all the on tap category, but I can also, instead of choosing that category, I can choose, I want to show the sours, which those are those two that I just touched earlier. And then maybe I also want to show hoppy and light and crisp, sweet and malty, and those are all the beers that I'm showing. We can change the style of that. So I added those items to the menu, but what I did not do is show the headings for those categories. So that's another thing under what to show. I want to show the category names. So once I check that box, now I see sours, hoppy, light and crisp, sweet and malty. So that's a good way to kind of organize the tap list so that your customers can glance and kind of look through the hierarchy of your menu and make an order based on what they're feeling like drinking. As far as branding, look and feel, that's all configurable here. Let's actually switch over to a different menu board. This is another trade show menu board that is in the horizontal layout, and this is a good example of using one of our themes. This is using the dark theme. So it uses the themes under here. They show a default background image, fonts, colors, kind of some presets that you can kind of click through and get a feel for what works for you. So you can change the look and feel quite a bit here by clicking on these themes and getting a different idea. Once you have a theme that you like, but you want to tweak it to fit your brand, let's start with this speakeasy theme. Kind of uses a typewriter type font, but maybe I find this a little hard to read, so we can go change the fonts and colors for that. So this up here is called a header message. So underneath header messages, I like the font, but I don't like the color. I'm going to change the color to something a little darker. That looks a little bit better. And then this is also highlighting something else that we've done. We have not every beer here, not every menu item has to have the same fonts and colors. They all start with what is defined under default menu item styles. So for example, the black color, the special elite font. But what we have is also the unique menu item styles. So we have this style applied to guest taps. We want to use a green font. There's no guest taps here, but we also have this style applied to hoppy, where we use this gold font. And that's fine. Maybe we want to highlight that the hoppy beers have a different font, but gold is a little hard to read here, so I'm just going to make that a little darker, just so that we can read it a little bit better. So that way we can kind of highlight certain menu items and make them stand out from each other. Underneath layout, you can do a lot of different things. This is where you would change from being a horizontal to a vertical board by rotating that board clockwise or counterclockwise. You can also break this into multiple pages if you want the items to be a little bit bigger. So that would break it into 2 pages, and then you see the scroll bar at the top. So that every 20 seconds, which is configurable here, it's going to switch to the next page. You can change that 20 seconds to go faster or slower. I recommend around 40 to 60 seconds, give people a time to look, but not too long that they have to wait forever to get back to the next item. If you make it really fast, you can kind of see all the different pages scroll through really quickly, and that's good for kind of testing when you want to see things. But I'll put it back to 20 right now. I'm actually going to put it back to 1 page, and there's some other options here. For example, we've got number of columns. We've got this in the 2-column layout. If you go to 1, obviously the screen's not big enough to show everything at that size, so it's going to zoom out to try to fit it all onto the screen. So 2 works really good with this number. 3 looks okay, but things start to wrap, so you kind of find just what really fits there. You can change spacing, so bring the rows kind of closer together or farther apart. Again, once you make things too big, it zooms out, so I always recommend kind of make things a little bit smaller and see how that feels. And then column spacing, so that's the space in between the 2 columns. Side spacing is space from the edge. Vertical item padding is going to give you space around each item, and then horizontal item padding is going to give you space on the sides. So all of these are good things to tweak and figure out what alignment works really well for you. You've got opportunities for branding in the corner. So right now it's using live tap list branding, but you can upload your own logo here to put in that bottom corner. Or you can choose to hide branding altogether and use that entire space as promo space, and that works well as well. Speaking of promos, there are 2 opportunities for promos on the TV screens. One is the banners on the bottom. So you can upload images like I've done here. Those images will rotate at a configured number of seconds. Right now it's set to 20. For illustrative purposes, I'll just change that to 5 so things can go a little bit faster. You can also add text to mix in as a promo instead of images. So I'll add a text that just says live music Saturdays. You can drag and rearrange these promos so that you can see which ones kind of show up in the order you want. And now live music Saturdays shows up first for 5 seconds, and then the next image will go. We can schedule this promo. For example, maybe you don't necessarily want to advertise that live music is on Saturdays on Saturday. If that's something you wanted to hide, you could choose not to show it on Saturday. Uncheck that box, and that promo doesn't show on Saturdays. You can also advertise different specials at different times throughout the day, and get, if there's a specific event where the event is occurring on a specific date, you can come through and say stop showing this promo at this date and time, so that it'll automatically stop showing, and you can schedule it to start showing at a certain date, so that You can kind of set these up maybe at the beginning of the week, and then they all show at the time that you want them to. So Live Music Saturday is not going to show yet because the date I've got it started is in the future. When you're done with the promo, you can click the X and delete it, and then it is gone from the system. There is a lot to configure here. Sizes and prices, the fonts, colors, images, everything is configurable. It's just a matter of finding where you need to make those changes over here on the left. Print menu is very similar. It has a preview over here on the right, and you have the similar type of layout where you can edit the number of columns down to 1, 2, 3. 2 generally works really well. And then you also have spacing, item spacing, which is that padding in between rows, and then column spacing, which is in between column. That really helps dial in the look and feel of the page. You can upload your logo on the top. Right now it just uses the default Live Tap List branding, but you can upload your own and then change the size of it. You have the ability to change the fonts and colors, the layout. For example, pricing layout can either be horizontal, where it's across the bottom, or vertical, where it's over on the side. Change the fonts, change the colors, and all of that for each individual text item. So for example, the prices are this gold color, and the sizes are this gray slate color, and those can all be controlled individually. I'm also showing a QR code on this print menu so that if this print menu does get out of date, it says, hey, this was printed on May 27th at 9:28 p.m. Scan this code for the most recent version. So that way, if one of these beers ends up not being available, they scan that code and they'll come to this web version of that print menu. They'll see this, and that will have all of the latest updates, even though you haven't had the time to print another version of that menu. For the web menu, again, very similar story. You choose what to show, which categories we're showing here. Let's go ahead and say we're going to show the on tap category, and I'll go ahead and click save and show preview. It's going to show this using another logo right there. We can either upload our own or remove that entirely. See if I've got one it's saved in my library. We'll just leave this off entirely right now. Go ahead and click save. And this is what we're choosing to show. We've got the image, we've got the short description, which is the beer type, the long description, which is that text there, and we're showing the category name, which is on tap, the ABV, the IBU, the brewery that it's from, and then 2 prices, 1 and 2. So that's all the information that's on the web menu. This web menu can be linked directly, so you can see it on a plain page, or you grab this snippet of code and it gets embedded on your website. An example of that can be found on my website under the web sample, and this is what that looks like. It actually inherits the fonts and colors of your website so that your branding is respected, and it uses everything that's already on your website. It doesn't look like it's out of place. It looks like it's a first-class citizen on your website. Again, every change that you make on the menu items page is going to take effect live on all of your other menus. So for example, let's bring up smoke and mirrors on the web menu, smoke and mirrors on the print menu, and just for fun, let's open up the board menu, open it here. Smoke and mirrors, I've got a lot of items here, so we've got a couple of ways to find them. I could search for smoke. I could also filter just to the on tap category and help me find it a little faster. Let's say we are out of smoke and mirrors. That is no longer available. Click save. Now on all of these menus, here's the board. Smoke and mirrors is no longer there. Smoke and mirrors no longer on the web. Smoke and mirrors no longer on the print. So it's not there anymore. Every change is live immediately, even on the print, because of that QR code. When people scan, they can see the last updated time here and see that they're getting the most recent version of that menu. Now you might be asking how is the best way to get started. Obviously, I've done a lot of the heavy lifting already. I've added a bunch of kind of sample menu items here, but you've got maybe hundreds of menu items that you need to get in and display. What's the best way? Well, we have a couple of different ways. The hardest way is to add them manually. You can just click this add button, and I'm filtered, so I'll go back to all categories. Click this add button. It adds a blank menu item, and you can start typing. My new item. This is in the on tap category, and the image is this one, and finish typing and get that thing to show up. So if I hit save, that would gladly show up. Here's my new item. That's a lot of work. A better way is to import a spreadsheet file. So you can download the sample file, fill it out, and re-upload it, and that gets a bunch of menu items in there a lot faster. So that's a really good way to do it. But by far the easiest way to do it is with an integration. So we have a set of integrations with GoTab, Square, Clover, and Heartland, where when you connect them, it will bring in all of your menu items from that system, and those will be connected and in sync at all times, so that anytime you make a change to a price, a description, change the image, once that syncs over into Live Tap List, all your menus are updated as well. I can show that real quick here. I'll go over to the Square demo subscription that I have. And I am going to actually disconnect this integration, and I'll start from scratch to show you how that works. Bulk select. I'm going to delete all these items and save. Come back and click connect on the Square integration. Once I click connect, I see basically it's asking for permissions. So Live Tap List wants to access your item library and your profile information. I'm going to allow that. And once that is connected, if I have multiple locations, which I do with the Square account, I'm choosing which one I want to connect to Live Tap List. And it's going to say we found 18 products, and I'm going to choose to sync all of them. You could just sync certain categories. For example, some people have 700 different items, but they only have, maybe 30 beers, and they only want to sync those for this purpose. For me, I just want all the categories. I'm going to sync all the fields. I could select specific ones, but I'll do all of them. And then there's also a couple of custom fields in here I could sync if I wanted to. For simplicity's sake, I am going to just bring in all of the default fields, and I will see that they all come in. I've got some images, some names, some categories, and some sizes and prices. They come in as inactive from Square, just so we don't accidentally bring in something we don't want to show, but I will activate them as I go here and click save. Now on the board, I'm going to start seeing some of these things. I've got draft beer and cans showing up on the board, and when I make a change in Square, go up to the item, make sure I find one that's on the board. So amber, wheat, orange, looks like that one is priced at $8. I'm going to bump it down to $7. Yep, it's $8 there. Bump it down to 7 and save. So what happens when I make a change in the POS? Square specifically has an action called a webhook, where it makes the save, and then the integration is configured to then make a call to Live Tap List to say, hey, this menu has updated. Live Tap List then finds which menu is associated with that Square account and refetches all of the data so that menu gets updated. A matter of seconds, certainly less than 30 seconds. Sometimes it's even faster than that. Sometimes it's immediate. So as you see, that went from 8 to 7 right before our eyes. We didn't have to click save or anything like that. It just happened immediately. If that was on a website, it would update right in front of the user's eyes. Same with the TV boards. The print menu is ready to print right away. So that change happens in the background every time you make a change in Square. We have the ability with the subscription to invite other contributors. You have other people on your team who are either dealing with your menu item data, want to set things as active or inactive while they're working. Maybe you've got graphic designers who want to upload promo images onto the board. You want to give them access to this account without sharing your password. The best way to do that is inviting them as contributors. So click invite contributors, grab this link. You can share this either through an email or text. They click on this link and then they can create an account, and they'll get access to the subscription. Once they accept that, they will show up under contributors here, and you can revoke them at any time if they're no longer working with you. But while they're contributors, they can access and make any of those changes that they need to make. There's also a handy help link that shows some articles that I've written, either highlighting new features, things to think about, as well as like common issues, how to clear the cache on the Fire TV. Sometimes if people are reporting they're seeing certain error messages or warning messages with a new Fire TV update, how to get around those. So helpful place to start with your troubleshooting. And that link is right there from your dashboard as well. That pretty much covers it. Please reach out to me if you have any questions. Best way to get started with the trial is go to livetaplist.com, click on free trial, and choose which subscription is right for you, and go ahead and get started. You get 2 weeks for free to try it out, so there's no risk. And once you get started and get your menus loaded, I'm sure you'll love it. It works great. Any feedback is always welcome. I've tried to make this product better with every customer that comes on, because everybody has great ideas, and I love hearing them and taking advantage of making the product better for everybody. All right, thank you.